Okay, so this is number 2. So we've sewn our 2 sequences of strips together. To make the whole quilt you will need to make a few more, but I'm just going to show you this. You just keep repeating the process. So what we're going to do first is just straighten off one of the edges. Now our piece of fabric should be 22 inches, our complete set, and this measurement should be 10.5, but depending on your seam allowance and whether the strips were actually 2.5 when you cut them, whatever they are, okay? So don't worry about it, don't be unpicking. But to get a straight edge, don't take the top or the bottom as your straight edge that you're going to measure off. I want you to take one of the centre ones. So on your ruler, pick a straight line and line it up with that seam or that seam. Slide the ruler across, keep that straight, and just trim off the bare minimum that you can. Now with a bit of luck you'll have a good 1.5 inches to play with anyway, but just take the bare minimum off. Now I'm going to change and use the square ruler, but if you haven't got a square ruler you can still do with this, you can mark it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a square. So my strip is measuring 10.5. So what I'm going to do is cut one square here, move the ruler across, and just take your time with this bit, don't be tempted to rush. So that's all the waste that there is. So I've now got 2 squares the same from that piece. So now what I'm going to do is exactly the same with this sequence. So I'm just going to straighten up this one edge. So again, use one of the seam lines in the middle to straighten up, slide the ruler across and just take that little bit off there. And then make 2 squares from this one. So if you haven't got a square ruler, check what measurement this is, mark that distance this way, use a pencil or a pen or whatever, mark there, and then turn the ruler around and cut down there. But if you've got a square ruler, then it does make life a little easier. But it's not essential, and those of you that come to classes with me know sometimes I turn them round and round and round if I'm cutting left-handed because I can't work out where I should be. So I've got one square and then I'll cut another. Again, lovely project because there is very little waste. So now what we're going to do is take one square from our first sequence and a second square from our second sequence, and we're going to put them right sides together. Now if you can match up where those seams or seam allowances are from the previous one, they should sit on top of each other. Then what you're going to do is you are going to mark the absolute diagonal. So you're going to draw a line through there, and then we're going to sew 1/4 inch away on either side. And when we cut our blocks apart, we will have one block that looks like that, and the other block will look like that. Then repeat. Now to make a square quilt like that, you need 13 blocks. Obviously you're going to end up making 14, and that's why you can use them for other things. And I'll show you some variations of how you can arrange them. But for this block, it's really very simple. So what works really well with these is to keep mixing the sequence of the strips. So if you can see now where a square is, so we've got one set of squares, and there will be another one exactly the same, and another two which are the opposite way. But then make another sequence using 5 other strips and mix them with 5 other strips, because with a full jelly roll you'll get several quilts this size out of it. It's such a good quilt. And you need, it's less than a yard. It says 5/8 of a yard, but if I say half a yard you won't have enough. So I would get a yard of fabric, but don't get it yet. See what colour is going to jump out when you've put it all together. And I say it does change the character of the quilt when you've assembled it. So make 13 blocks, and then I'll show you how they go together in the next video.